Hello, and welcome to another conversation class here at Verbling. Edson, welcome back. Edson. Edson.
Back like a hello, back like a flash.
Excellent. Hey, do me a favor, Edson. Click on that link. I want you to get ready to watch the video.
Okay, it's downloading the page yet.
Yeah, I've already pasted it on the page.
My internet sometimes is frozen.
Yeah, it could be because I pasted it a few times. Hello,
Yeah.
David.
How are you?
I'm good, David. Do me a favor. Can you open up the link that I just pasted there?
Okay.
I got a video for you guys to watch.
Okay. Okay, I'll watch the video then.
Yeah, if you want, you
Yeah.
can start it now. Asma.
Yeah, no teacher.
Hello. Could you start your video, please?
Okay.
And Edson, can you start the video as well, please?
Yeah, it's downloading.
All right, so David's just finished watching the video. So have I. Who else has finished? Okay, so while everybody's finishing up then, I'll give you guys about another minute. Okay, Asma, good. So we're going to do things a little differently. There's 4 of us. Well, 4 of you guys, 5 including me. And I want to do something a little different here. I want to do role-playing right off the start. You were watching that video, and you had a presenter working for a broadcast corporation, and you had somebody who represented the government. The broadcaster kept asking questions, and the person from the government would answer. What I want to do is things a little differently. I still want to have somebody who represents the broadcaster, so that's one role, right? As I said up top, another role is the broadcaster, which is a facilitator of the discussion. And then we're going to have a panel. That means instead of just having one person being interviewed by the broadcaster, we will have 3 more. Okay? So the broadcaster role is a very important role because you kind of help set the topics that each of you has to answer to or discuss, just like Ian Hanamansing did in that video. Okay, and would anybody like to play the role of the broadcaster?
David wants.
Sorry?
David wants.
What do you mean maybe once?
David wants to be.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a good. Okay, so very good, David. So David, you're going to be the role of the broadcaster.
Okay.
And in that video, there's a lot of good questions that were brought up. I need somebody who can play the role of the Prime Minister.
Okay.
Okay, Amp, you're Justin Trudeau.
Yeah,
I need somebody who can play the role of a Syrian refugee.
Okay, me.
And Edson, I would like you to play the role of a concerned Canadian citizen.
All right.
And you know what, guys? I'll play the role of another Canadian citizen. Okay? So it's important to kind of remember what they talked about in the video. Now, I'll summarize a little bit. Some Canadians think 25,000 people within 6 months or initially 3 months, that's a lot of people very quickly. Can you check that many people that quickly? Can we find room for that many people that quickly? Like where are we going to house them? You know, you can't just bring people in the country. You need to provide means for them too. You need to support them. There needs to be a support system. Or you're setting people up to fail. This is a very cold country. You're coming in the coldest time of the year, right? Also, the economy is doing okay. It's not the greatest. So, you know, you're bringing more people into the workforce. Some people are concerned about, well, how do we know that if you're bringing them in quickly, are you screening them properly? How do we know that some of them you couldn't have some ISIL people hiding, as one did to get into France? Okay, so we have all these different roles, and this is new. I've never tried to have this many people. Now, I don't have to talk as much, but remember, it's the broadcaster, David, that really gets to control the topic. And then, David, you need to go to each person and give them a chance to respond. And the person, when they talk, they can either respond to the question directly or they can respond to what one of the other panel members said. Now, guys, for this to work, you kind of need to keep your answers relatively short. Don't take more than about 30 seconds, okay? So let's give it a shot. If this works, we can spend the rest of the class using this model. David, I'll turn it over to you because you're the facilitator.
All right. Well, let's start with the Prime Minister, right?
Yes, sir.
As you can see, there's a concern from citizens, Canadian citizens, bringing 26,000 refugees in 6 months. Could you please tell us, is this possible? And if it's possible, how it's gonna happen?
Well, I have to say to the citizens that they don't have to be concerned about anything. Because all these people have been screening by our visa officers, and furthermore, they have been screening first by the UN. So it's I trust on the people that we have, and all these people that you can understand is people that have been suffering for casualties. They are widows with they are just families. You don't have to concern about any terrorists or something, because uh, it's easy to think that a terrorist is not going to spend time in this process. Like it takes more than a year to do it, and if they want to attack, well, you know, they are going to travel just like a tourist. So
Oh,
don't concern.
all right. Okay. Well, let me hear from one of our concerned citizens. Edson,
Yes.
could you please tell us what is your concern? What would you like to ask to the Prime Minister?
How the government will control the workforce, and how they're gonna provide, how they're gonna feed these people, how they're gonna provide houses and work, how it's gonna be this.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Prime Minister?
Well, we have been doing a study before this. This is a big country, and we can afford the help to these people in refugees. They are going to start working, and they are going to collaborate for our economy, because they are so thankful to start a new life here, and that most of them have a family relative here, so they have the place. It is just a few of them that we have to provide all the food, the place to live. So
But do you have many ways of employ to provide job for these guys, these refugees?
yeah, but we count with the help of we can of the help of foundations, local communities that are open to help these people. So you don't have to be concerned about that.
Okay. Now, can I hear from the one of the citizens from
Yes.
Syrian citizen,
Mm-hmm.
Asma?
Yeah.
Um, Many Canadians are concerned about immigrants from Syria, from your country, because they are afraid of some
Mm.
terrorist people can infiltrate in the group. Um, there's any way that you can tell us what is the situation of the refugees? Are they really coming to this country because they want to a better life, or they want to
Mm-hmm.
do something wrong in this part of the
Mm.
world?
Yeah. I can understand very well the fears of the Canadian people because they think that we are like ISIS, maybe because the media is showing bad things that really ISIS did. And it's very comprehensible to understand them, but at the same time, it's unfair to underestimate those people who are escaping from war. So I think that as refugees, we should to defend our or to speak out about our situation, even though the media show that we are starving. We are standing up in the lines, waiting for service visa servicing, and also we are facing death because
Mhm.
we are escaping from war to death, and we are sacrificing our lives in the sea because we don't have any choice. We will die in Syria or in the water, in the sea. So
Mhm.
you can understand our uh, the earth strikes. You know, you can send the battles, you can send gangs. So please, don't be afraid of us. Will not take um, your jobs or your food. We are looking for better life, and I think that you are um, that humanity is a character that Canadian people can do it with us.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I believe uh, we understand the situation. That's why the government, the Canadian government, is offering 26,000 visas for Syrian people. So we understand the gravity of the situation, but at the same time, we cannot uh, overlook the idea that maybe some people from there, they can take advantage of the situation and they can here and they can create more trouble. So that's the main concern that the citizens have. So, Prime Minister, could you please tell us, have this happened before? Have we have this 26,000 immigrants in the past? And tell us more about that.
Well, I think that we have the same situation with Vietnamese people before. Um, but the concern now is because they are really just making a relation in between the Muslim people, and they think that all of them belong to a terrorism movement, and that is not true. We have to give them the opportunity to start a new life, and I think that most of the citizens, if we are in the same situation um, in our country, we would like to receive the help that we are just giving to this small group of people, because you know that there are many Syrian citizens that are trying to leave their country for better situation. So I think we cannot be blind to this situation, and we have to to act.
Right, right, right. Um, Simon is another concerned citizen. Um, Simon, could you please express your opinion?
Yeah, I know Canada has played a very proud role in the past in helping nations that are facing very tough situations. I was very young when Canada received tens of thousands of Vietnamese coming over, or refugees from Vietnam in the late 70s. And I see this as very similar. The only thing I kind of worry about this is we've got a new government here. They haven't been in power before. They don't understand how government works. It takes time to get that figured out. They said that within 3 months they're going to receive 25,000 people, which I think is terrific. My only concern is that they really haven't told us anything about how they plan on doing things. They haven't told us about what kind of security checks. They've just gone ahead and said, yes, we'll do it, without really explaining how or what. And I think most Canadians are quite happy to accept them, but we need to understand what's being done, and this winter, how are they being provided for? How are they being provided for food? Are they using social services? Well, how are they going to use those, because they don't have the right identification? So there's a lot involved here. So I'd really like to know how this is supposed to transpire in 3 months.
Yeah, but I believe that the main concern is the fear of I mean, of course, the concern that you just mentioned is also a concern. They want to know how this is going to be provided, all the services that you just mentioned. But I think the main concern, like also in the United States, is just how are is the government is going to make sure that we are not also welcoming future terrorists. I think
Well,
that's the main concern.
yeah, I lightly touched on that. So when I said about how they're going to do all this within 3 months without doing proper checks, normally it takes a long time to immigrate into Canada because you have to go through checks. You have to be checked by federal security agencies, provincial security agencies, and you have to talk to the foreign country. And that infrastructure, in a lot of cases, isn't there. So that's something we're curious to know about too. I don't believe most of these people. I don't believe there's probably any people in there that are ISIL members that are trying to escape and come over here and cause trouble. I think any of those people aren't going to come through diplomatic channels. They're going to use the internet. They're going to use smuggling means. They're not going to come in through the front door. But I'd still like to know what is our government doing here? Have they thought this through?
Okay, so Prime Minister, please.
Well, as a citizen, I understand that what the concern of the people here, but you know that it's a big country. We have enough resources, and these countries need these people need our support, and the population that in our country is bigger than the just 25,000 people is nothing. That with our help, with our sources, we could help more people maybe.
Okay. Another concern, citizen Edson, are you happy with these answers, or you still have concerns?
Well, some concerns are with the government. For example, they need to provide schools for children. They need to provide work, kind of education. They need to provide. Of course, it's gonna maybe it can help the economy and the growth of the economy, but a lot of refugees is not gonna be okay, because how to deal with the amount of, we need schools, we need colleges for education, I don't know, maybe even. And you can the biggest problem would be houses and work for these guys. And besides, of course they're gonna live here, but how we the weight of the visas, and yeah, just the weight of the visa, how the government will deal with these concerns.
It's like it's gonna before. Okay, I'm gonna go for Prime Minister first, and then I'm gonna go to Asma. Is there a way that is going to increase the people working in for the visa office, or it's going to be 24-hour service? How is gonna how are you going to speed up the process?
How can we are going to face what?
Speed up the process.
Well, this is fortunately our officers, visa officers, have been screening these after the job that the UN have been done, and it is going to be very diligent. It doesn't take too much time.
So it's like half of the work has been done already for other organizations. You just kind of that's why it's going to be faster.
Yes, a check over check. Yeah.
Asma, can you tell us what kind of people are coming to this what kind of refugees are you? Are you? I'm sure that not all of you are farmers. I heard that they are professionals. And how are you going to contribute to this country, to Canada? What do you have offered to this country?
Mm-hmm. Uh, I think that you asked me some question. This question is a little bit awkward for me because I don't think that the government of Canada is not aware that this about this huge number of refugees. So I think that they have their plan, and maybe His Excellency the Prime Minister doesn't doesn't talk about the plan. So I don't think that when they decide to host this big number, they don't have any plan or backup about anything that can happen urgently. This is first of all. Second, I don't know. I feel like um, many people are afraid, still afraid of refugees. Um, so I don't know why. So I think that if they did something wrong, for sure they will be expelled by the country. So there are some rules and laws, and so it will be very organized. And as the Prime Minister said, that all refugees are screened by high um, high well-known organization. So I think that it's no for me it's no reason to be scared about them. And Steve Jobs is one example. Maybe people know that Steve Jobs is founder of Apple Computer, but they forget that he's coming from Syrian family, and his father was devastated in the civil war uh, last decades. So I think that we have to um, estimate very well those people, and and I see that the Prime Minister of Canada is welcoming them, or was welcoming them very warmly. So it's no sense to talk about fears.
All
Right.
right, thank you. Let me step in. I'm going to make a few changes. I noticed Francisco just joined us. Francisco, has you finished watching the video yet?
Yes, teacher. I'm ready.
Okay, so um, I'm gonna switch out with David. So David, you're gonna take a brief break. I will play the role of the broadcaster. Francisco, would you like to play the role of a Syrian refugee, a Canadian citizen, or the Prime Minister?
No, the Syrian refugee.
Okay, so you're going to be the Syrian refugee. Amp, I'm going to have you sit out too because you got a lot of talk time. So Amp and David, you get to sit out. So I'm the broadcaster. Francisco, you'll be the Syrian. Let me write this down or I'm going to forget. Francisco, you'll be a Syrian. Edson, you're Canadian citizen.
Okay.
And that leaves Asma. Would you like to be the Prime Minister?
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. So we got okay. So I can't speak. I can't speak. Francisco, we'll start with you. So I understand that you recently arrived in Canada. You're one of the first over on the plane, greeted by the Prime Minister. What did it feel like when you arrived in Canada? I know it's been a rough trip.
Yeah, it was a very rough trip. So, but we are fleeing from war, and we are looking for a country who can get us, who can give us some land, some help. Yeah, we are fleeing from the ISIS, from the army. we don't want to die. We only want to work. We only want to have a better life. So we need your help.
And what would you say to the Canadian people? Not everybody is in tune with the news. A lot of people are busy about their daily lives. But what would you tell them about your experiences and why you chose to come to Canada?
Well, we are very hardworking people. Uh, we are, like I told you, we are just fleeing from killing, from I don't know, maybe hunger. So please accept us as refugees. Um, so we are honest people. We are working. Maybe we could provide some help to this culture, to this country, but we need urgently your help.
Okay, thank you very much. Now turn over to the Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, or I should say Mrs. Prime Minister, what did you say to the refugees when you greeted them?
Mhm. Yes, I can say that we welcome them in our country, and um, they 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 don't have to be ashamed about what happened in Syria, and also they don't have to be ashamed about ISIS because it's an extremist group, and we should be careful about dividing people or naming people with their true names and true description. So I think that if we are um, we have our concern, and but it does not mean that we don't care about those desperate people. And if we have the opportunity to help them, of course we will help them.
Okay, thank you very much. Edson, I understand that you represent one of the Canadian companies that has donated $5 million, and you've also donated some supplies for the refugees to help them out. Why did your company step up to help out?
Because they need help and we need to to afford them. Like we need to provide everything that for good for them, and this way they need to be to feel comfortable in our country, and because they need to live, they need to live in a better way, you know.
All right, thank you very much. I want to go back to the Syrian refugee that's been here for a while. I can imagine it's very difficult, the journey you've had. You know, you're basically forced out of your home. You've been wandering from camp to camp. You've been interviewed by various agencies from the UN to various countries. You've met with Canadian officials. And I understand that you really haven't gotten a lot of sleep in the last couple of days. Um, Tell us about what's going on in Syria right now. Why were you forced to leave?
Well, our first, there are a lot of killing. There are a lot of killing. There are the ISIS is killing people, innocent people. Our children are starving. We don't have we don't have any food, any supplies. We don't have any water for drinking. We don't have a decent job. So, well, we had to travel through Europe, some countries, and looking for help. And we will we would like that this government could help us, because we have a very rough journey. Uh, We have seen a lot of people die during our journey, so we need help.
All right, thank you very much. Prime Minister, since the Paris attack, which have been claimed by ISIS or ISIL, many countries have closed their borders. Recently, the United States presidential Republican running mate has said that they want to ban all Muslims from entering the country. Other countries have said, you know, they won't accept any refugees. There's concern. There's a lot of fear in Europe. So, Prime Minister, my question to you is, why has Canada decided to embrace the refugees, to go ahead with, well, for you to go ahead with your promise of bringing in 25,000 refugees?
Yes, that's a good question. I think that as a country, so we have, yes, of course, we want to help them, but also, let's say it, we need workers, we need people in Canada. So it's in one hand, it's very good to help them because they are desperate people, and the other hand, in the next decade or in the next, let's say, years, you will see that they are going to be very good for our economy. So, and you said about other politicians. We don't care about other politicians. They have their own policy and they say what they say. But I think that this is a good plan to for our growth economy.
Thank you very much. All right, so let's change things up again. And yes, Edson, I'm changing the conversation class a little bit. I'm going to be introducing role playing in second and third rounds now. So yes, it is changing a little bit. And actually, I'm looking for ideas from you guys. I'm getting ready to publish a class for tomorrow. I would like to know what topics you guys are interested in. If you want to post them in the comments, I'll consider them and we'll pick one today. Okay, so David and Amp have been sitting quiet, so I'm going to bring them back in, and I'm going to ask Edson and Asma to sit out this round. Who would like to play the role of the broadcaster?
Ampera.
No, I want to be a citizen.
I like to be the prime minister. I want to have the citizenship.
You're sitting out this one round. So Amp, you'll be a Canadian. Okay.
I'm going to be what?
Amp, you're a Canadian.
Yeah. Okay.
David, what role do you want to play?
I don't care.
All right, then you'll be a Syrian.
Okay.
Edson, you're going to be the broadcaster.
Oh, I don't know if I will do very well, but I
Well,
can try.
It's
Okay.
not about who can do it the best. It's about giving you the experience to try, right?
All right.
All right. So just think of short questions. Think of them ahead of time, and go from there. All right. So Edson, you'll be the broadcaster. I'll be the prime minister this time, and Francisco.
He can be the Canadian, and I can be the Syrian because he already was a Syrian. No.
Well, he can be another Canadian too.
Okay. Yeah.
Teacher, can I be another politician from other country?
Okay, you can be Donald Trump.
Okay.
No.
No. Okay. Now, again, be respectful. And so if you're going to play Donald Trump, don't play him as a...
Dumbass.
yeah, don't play him as a dumbass. Don't play him as an idiot. Whenever you watch a movie, the villains that believe in what they're saying are usually more believable and more enjoyable to watch. So play him as somebody who believes what he's thinking from fear or whatever. But I know it's a tough role to play, but
Yes, especially for me. Okay.
well, for a lot of people, but do your best. So I'm the PM. I'm losing track. Francisco, you're a Canadian citizen. Edson, you're also
Broadcaster.
yeah, broadcaster. Okay, Edson, take it away.
And let's hear from the Syrian. How you are feeling living in Canada?
Oh, it's wonderful, but it's too cold. But what I want to say is that besides the fear of bringing terrorists to Canada, I think Syrians are bringing something else too. We are bringing our talents. We are not all of us are farmers. We have a lot of professionals coming with us. I'm a professional. I'm a doctor. So we are offering also we won't be a burden for the country. I know that the citizens are investing their tax dollars for providing us this place for us to live, but we are also doing our part. We are not coming here just to say feed us, give us education. We are willing to support to also contribute to this culture. We are professionals. We just need more a little training, maybe in the language, maybe in the system, but we will be able to contribute to the society, make a better Canada.
All right. And tell me, Prime Minister, how are you gonna get in control of the refugees from Syria? Because if you get much more than we can afford, how will be the concerns from this?
This is not about money. These are people in desperate need. People don't want to leave their countries. It, Poverty doesn't force people to leave. Water doesn't force people to leave. But when you've got such violence on a daily basis, you've got torture, people will run and they'll flee, and they're looking for a safe place. Nobody should have to live in that kind of environment. This is not a discussion of money. This is a discussion of doing what is right. It's standing up for Canadian values, and it's welcoming these people in. We'll worry about jobs later. But right now, we just need to bring them in. We've got policies in place. Canada's been around for a long time. We have a lot of policies for dealing with immigrants. We have policies for dealing with refugees. And we've enacted those policies. We were able to bring in about 10,000 people a day. I know initially it promised 3 months. We're probably going to extend that by about 2 months. But we're able to bring in about 10,000 people a day, or at least process 10,000 people a day.
Okay. About with let's hear from Donald Trump.
Oh,
How how you are affording these refugees? Uh, is there one way to get in control with the money, because you probably be
Yes,
spending a lot of money with this. Tell me.
yes, I have a way. Yes, to ban them to fly to the US, to Canada. So this is the only way that can save us from these extremist groups, because ISIS is a Muslim, it represents one of the group of Muslim people, so you should be careful. And I think with this way, we will not have some terrorist attacks or any threat.
wow,
Sorry,
there's
okay, who is the Canadian citizen?
I am one of the Canadian
there you go.
citizens.
And
Okay, what
Francisco.
Francisco, how do you feel living with these refugees, these guys? Tell me about your thoughts about this?
Well, I don't care. I don't care to live with them. Only my concern is security. Um, well, because we have a lot of empty spaces here in our country. So, um, unfortunately, the country has a lot of jobs to offer too. Um, I think we can afford uh, these uh, these people to stay here in the country, and they are good people. They are good working people too. But obviously they need help urgently. Um, I appreciate the movement. I appreciate um, the action that the government is taking. So I think we can get along.
David, tell me about the.
Well, David's sitting this one out. Why don't you ask? Give
Okay.
Amp a shot. Amp hasn't had a shot yet.
Um, um,
Yeah.
I don't know who you are.
Well,
Katie.
I don't have.
my concern is that we are at the beginning they are not going to work, and we are going to pay for their meals, their places, and I don't know if then they are going to like that kind of facilities and that kind of life, and maybe they are going to be living here without producing anything. So my concern is that we are going to maybe the government is going to increase the taxes for the citizens, in order to cover this.
Well, I've actually promised to reduce taxes. So, as part of my election campaign, I'll be reducing taxes for the middle class tax bracket. The only people that will be feeling an increase in taxes will actually be the those making more than $200,000 a year.
Yeah, but you know
But
that the oil, the prices of the oil are low, so our economy is not the most strongest.
No, it's not the strongest, but we've just reported we'll have a surplus for this year. Next year, it looks like we're going to be reporting a deficit, but these are not huge numbers. These are something that we can manage and deal with. You know,
Yeah,
this,
you're just starting the government.
yeah, well, but this is a human issue here. These are people who are being tortured. They're being kicked out of their homes. They don't have any food or water. They're living in poverty in camps, waiting for countries to accept them in. And these aren't terrorists. These are families like you and I that have seen a world.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I don't have any concern about that,
Don't
the
be so
security.
heartless. All right, so guys, let me take back control here. We got about 10 minutes left. Um, I'm going to give each of you about 2 minutes of talk time to summarize your thoughts on this issue. Um, Now, because I live in Canada, this is very topical for me, and I can tell you when I first heard about it, I thought there was a little bit of concern. It's not like, no, we don't want this to happen, but concern means I have some reservations. So, well, how are you checking them? So I remember when I saw this interview, I thought, okay, this is good. He's explaining everything, how the UN does background checks first, and then this agency does checks, and then this one, and this one, and this one, and there's a process, so I feel better about that. I also don't believe that terrorists are going to come through normal channels. We have thousands of kilometers of borders. Probably if you're going to come into Canada, you probably would come in from some other border or some other place rather than through the traditional means, or you'd be using the internet. I also, when you saw the people land on the first plane, they went out there with the cameras, crews, they did some interviews, and you got to hear people talking about their stories, and you got to see real people and see that these people were tormented. These people, anybody who goes through violence and bombings and threats of torture, you can see it. So, you know, we're a small country. We can't take in a lot of people, but to be able to take in a certain amount and help out, I think that's very important. And It's always been part of Canada's history with World War One, World War Two, playing those support roles. So I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to go to Francisco. I'm going to give you 2 minutes of talk time, Francisco. We're going to run over a little bit, but I think it's worth it. And Francisco, tell me your thoughts on this issue.
Okay, and first, I'm very happy that the Canadian government has accepted this arrangement with Syrian people. So I think they deserve this because they are, like I said before, they are good people. They are suffering a lot. Their families, well, uh, are starving. They need, they don't have any water or food in their country. Uh, they are ISIS is killing people, innocent people. So I think these people need help urgently. So I appreciate that the Canadian government has accepted this, has accepted to help them. I think, well, maybe the first years, or the first year, the 2 years, um, maybe this is going to be a little, a little difficult. Yeah, because the government or or the Canadian citizens have to pay taxes, or well, they had to pay for them. But in the long run, the country is going to be strong because well, they needed uh, handwork for maybe for growing, for harvesting, for well, for everything in the country. Uh, so so I think, well, you are receiving all kind of people, yeah. Maybe you are
Thank you,
receiving
Francisco.
all.
So I have to move right on because we will run out of time. Edson, your final thoughts on today's topic.
As I like, for a view of the Syrian refugees, I believe that Canada is a very good place to live and to work. And in a view of the Canada, people living there, I believe that Syria refugees are maybe can produce, can can make the economy of the country to going up, and they can contribute to the economy, and they can become like a professional, can study, and they, they can study that in Syria they could not, and they can live far from terrorism, and they are probably are not gonna live sorry, they are not gonna live in scare. They are sure that the following day they are gonna wake up and no attacks against them. And yeah, these those are my thoughts.
All right. Thank you very much, Edson. All right, David, your thoughts on this topic tonight, your final words.
Mm, I'm just having dinner, sorry. Final thoughts. Well, I believe that the main concern now is not that possible ISIS members are going to come with immigrants. I think the problem that we have now, and it's happening in the United States and also in Europe, is that we have what is called homegrown terrorists. And this is an issue that Canada we have to face it, and also United States and also Europe, that there are many Muslims that they don't feel assimilated to the culture. For some reason, they are neglected from society, and those are the peoples who are going to be attacking the country. So it's not a matter of who's coming into this country, it's how you are going to try to integrate these people, to assimilate these people into the culture. And that's something that is failing in the United States, it's failing in Europe, and that's something that kind of have to think about what to do, because that's a potential issue, big issue, that is going to about to explode. How are you going to make these people to feel that they are Canadians, that they love the country, so they won't be able to attack their people, to feel one of them? So, Prime Minister, that's
Thank
your. They had a heck of a job over there.
Now, I just want to say, guys, would all of you be willing to stick around for another hour to continue this conversation, or are you guys pretty? Well, it's kind of late for some of you, though. So probably we'll. Well, okay. What do you guys want to talk about at tomorrow's class before I continue with asthma and AMP?
What? Maybe we should type it in.
Well, I need it quickly because I got to post it.
Education.
Yeah. Okay.
I think American election now. I think the Republican election. Yeah. I think it's very important. Especially yesterday, I saw the debate of Republicans on CNN.
Well, the first class we'll deal with then will be education. But trust me, there's going to be plenty of time to talk about the election because it's not till next November. But we can talk about that. Yeah, maybe that'll be my second class tomorrow.
Economic issues.
I would say.
David,
I would say.
David,
Sorry.
I got to give the ladies a chance to speak. Asma, your final thoughts on this issue?
Okay, I would say that imagine your kid, you are living with your kids under airstrikes and under this war, and you don't know how to do and how to protect him. So I think many parents escape from war and are facing their kids passed away. And if they didn't pass away under the war, they passed away at sea. So I think it's for humanity, it's very good to help those people who are desperate. And of course, that I don't think that the countries are stupid when they will host them. Of course, they will screen them because it's very important also to make the security, general security of the country in the top, on the top. Yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you. Am, your final thoughts.
Yes, I think that the decision that the Prime Minister made, yes, it was a very important this example for many countries that can help, and they just deny it because they don't want to have the population against them. Most of the countries that are in process of election, they don't want to face this, and I think that it's not a concern for the population also. Those of people have been screening. They are just family that want a new opportunity, and well, thankfully your government have done something good for those people.
This government wasn't in power, and they still said they were going to bring in 25,000. That was an election campaign promise. They said, "Look, we're going to do it," and they still got elected. So, but that was also before the Paris attacks. So once the Paris attacks happened, a lot of people kind of did this. Ooh, okay. I'm a little concerned now, right? So, but if anything, I think doing something like this, it doesn't create. It's not an action that's going to create retaliation on Canada. It doesn't. So, and probably for other countries around the world that are Islamic based, they're not going to look at Canada in a bad light for doing something like this. This is helping people out. This is not hurting people. So, I think it's a good thing. And I'd like to thank you guys for coming up with this topic because I didn't pick it. The two topics tonight you guys picked. I've got one class booked for tomorrow. I will book another one probably later tonight. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, I'm not doing a good job of keeping track of time, but we're 1 minute over. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Periodically, I will say, look, I'll stay for another hour. I just need to get at least 3 or 4 of you guys. Otherwise, they don't like it if I teach a class with only like 2 or 3 students in it.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you
Sure.
for the
You're welcome.
class.
Have a great
Yeah,
night,
bye.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.